Well, a good afternoon to you. This is Taifa Dialogues. We shall be having random conversations on the politics of this country. We shall talk about policy issues, and our work really is to break down what you need to know. It's a simple conversation, but the ideas are deep. In studio, I'm going to introduce my panel so that we can get right into the conversation. And from my right side, I have Kamau Wakamau, who's one of our panelists. Just say hi to the studio so that we move on. Yeah, good. And I have Jimmy Kagoni, who's also a political analyst. Very much welcome.
Thank you very much.
All right, and in studio, Reverend Dr. David Gari, karibu sana Bishop.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome into the Taifa Dialogue. Karibu sana.
Asante.
Thank you.
I wanted to start this conversation perhaps from the succession politics we've seen in the Mount Kenya region, and I know politics have really heated up. But just the other day, Jimmy, to start with you, we saw the entry of Peter Kenneth, that meeting that happened at Pan-Afric where we had governors led by Governor Kiraito Murungi, we had ministers, and then Peter Kenneth. And the question obviously is, what's really happening in the Mount Kenya region, owing to the fact that the president is in his sunset days or retiring?
Thank you very much, and thank you very much even for the question, Jacob. I'm not sure why anytime we see readers from Mount Kenya gather together, that always raises a lot of eyebrows. There is a lot of concern. I listened to the presser that was done by the leaders, and they said they had gathered together for a lunch, courtesy to celebrate the new majority leader, Amos Kemunya.
Yes.
And that's the much they said. But of course, you'd be allowed to think beyond that, because when you see the faces of people like the National Assembly Speaker,
Yes.
when you see people like C.S. Munya, when you see people like Kiraito Murungi, when you see people like Peter Kenneth there, Amos Kemunya was there, Kirinyaga was well represented by the senator. I mean, you can tell this is not a normal lunch. And it is true that what was coming out clearly is that the leaders of Mount Kenya are thinking on how to deal with the succession politics around President Kenyatta. For far so long, we have not had a clear picture. We have not had anybody who looks like ready even to inherit the Mount Kenya region. And there is a small difference, because during Kibaki time, somehow Uhuru was able to step in very fast. Or the conversations were there. There were other tones that, of course, that appeared. But by the time now we saw people like the late John Michuki coming out and saying that we are behind Uhuru Kenyatta, it was very clear. This time around, it hasn't been very clear. In fact, I would say that one person who have had that opportunity has been Peter Kenneth himself.
All right.
I am not sure why he has not really stepped up the way I would expect him to step up to actually inherit the block.
But maybe we'll come back to that and talk about inheriting the block. But very quickly to you, Bishop, because I'm thinking Kagoni says during the exit of President Kibaki, we had a clear successor in President Uhuru Kenyatta. President Uhuru Kenyatta is yet to give us perhaps, or give the region who will succeed him. Maybe the president is not retiring after all.
During Kibaki, I cannot recall in one given time that he mentioned that he would want so or so to succeed after him.
Yes.
I think he prayed very retro, and he let the ground to anyone who would wish to come to vie for a presidency or whatever position. Kibaki, I don't recall anything said from Kibaki's mouth. The same case today.
Yes.
The president is quiet and is not even communicating anything to anybody. And I think it is also healthy for us to have somebody who stands on his own feet.
Okay.
Because if you are able to come out yourself because of the vision you have for the country, not that the president have told you to come and vie. You yourself, you come because you have a vision. I think that one can also be a very good stage to manage yourself and to show to the people that you are also capable without having standing on other people's platform.
Okay.
And I want to believe that all this that is said about Peter Kenneth or whoever, we would wish and we would want to see even before President puts his input, we would wish we see at least somebody coming out and say, I want to vie. Sometimes back, Kuria said so.
Yes.
I heard Kuria say,
Moses Kuria.
Yeah, he said sometimes back. And we thought that he was serious, but he was not serious. And we know that we have the Hasra.
Yes.
He's saying that he will revive. Why wouldn't Kenneth also come out and tell us nataka nataka kusimama hii kiti? So it is a matter of even President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta would wish to identify the strength in a single candidate. And you remember President Moi saying in a meeting, in a full Kano meeting, I'm looking on all of you, but I cannot identify a single leader except this Uhuru Kenyatta. So now Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta has also the opportunity to look into his house and see whether he has a leader with him.
All right.
So now is upon Kina Kenneth, come out. Everybody, come out and show to Kenyans that you are able to become. But now, this time around, we have not seen many. We have seen very few, and we are waiting. And that's all I would say for that. Yeah.
Bishop says the wait is on, but he makes a very weighty point that the leaders in Mount Kenya have just refused to step up. That is why we are yet to see somebody who we can say credibly, this is the person who is going to take the mantle after President Uhuru Kenyatta.
Thank you, JJ, for having me today. But me, I would look it in a very different perspective.
Okay.
I would call it the Mount Kenya or the House of Mombi has been challenged few or 1 or 3 times in matters leadership and politics. From the time when the colonial government was with us in those days, if only they got together with the House of Mombi, traded together, did farming together, and they were good friends to them, it could have continued for quite some time. Even today, probably could be having the colonial government still with us.
Okay.
But when they threatened their territory, they reacted. The other time is when President Moi squeezed the House of Mombi to a point where they could not breathe, as we are saying recently on the I Can't Breathe. And the House of Mombi of the Mount Kenya reacted.
Yes.
And what came is the Section 2, was it
Section 2A?
And that is now we came back to the multi-partyism.
That's in 92?
That is 92. Now again,
Yes.
the territory of House of Mombi has been threatened by someone called William Samoei Ruto. All right. And now, when the House of Mombi went to the forest, not all of them who went, others were left, and we are at the similar situation or event like it was now.
Okay.
Other people will join, others will say this won't work, or they will join the other territories. But now, the Mount Kenya region has been threatened in matters politics and in leadership. So what is going to happen? We're going to have an elevated political heat-up among ourselves. And by the end of the day, as the bishop had pointed out, when Uhuru was stepping in, it was a matter of 3 months.
By elevated political conversations, you mean that there will be competition inside the Mount Kenya region?
There's going to be not really competition. There's going to be what we call territorial management.
All right.
So I may say, or in simple ways, they are going to take guards on what it's theirs. Whichever way you look at it, there are those who are going to fight for their territory. There are those who are going to invite others from outside their territory. Now the outcome is what will determine which team will win. So going forward, we are on President Uhuru Kenyatta's territory. So and we trust personally as a person, that's where I stand. And I look back into when there were freedom fighters. I look back into when there were multi-partyism, second generation freedom fighters, and now where we are. We may be, as they saying, the minority. But by the end of the day, the truth will come out.
And I'm sure we'll get to the William Ruto factor in the Mount Kenya region.
Yes.
But Jimmy Kagoni, the point made by Bishop about leaders in Mount Kenya refusing to step up to show that they can provide leadership post President Uhuru Kenyatta. There's also a creeping feeling, really, that there has been not a space for them to step up, and that the president sometimes has been seen, or the people around him, to clamp on people who are alternative voices. By this, I'm talking about the people like Mwangi Kiunjuri, the former agriculture minister.
Yeah, it is true. In fact, even to take it further,
Yes.
there's been some talks that maybe the president has not been able to build anyone, or he has not prepared anyone, or rather that he wants maybe even to stay put. But the truth of the matter, and I just want to pick a point that Bishop mentioned, is that Uhuru Kenyatta was not prepared by Kibaki. And that's what people need to understand. Uhuru Kenyatta was not prepared by Mwai Kibaki. He did his math, he did his calculations, he strategized, and he was able to get where he got. So for those who really want to point at the president and say that he has not prepared somebody in the Mount Kenya region, I find that to be a little bit misplaced. In fact, the person I thought was trying to see whether he can get somebody in the Mount Kenya region in a way of trying to fill up that vacuum to play a second fiddle kind of a role was actually the deputy president. Because what the deputy president did is that he has been very proactive. I think he foresaw there is going to be a vacuum, and he went in directly. My thinking is that he thought if he is able to relate with the Mount Kenya region directly, without even going through anybody, then it will be easier for him to get maybe a running mate from a different place altogether. Because the Mount Kenya will feel like they are able to connect to him directly.
They're already with him.
They're already with him.
Okay.
And when I check the amount of investment that he has made in terms of social investment and political investment around Mount Kenya, that tells you that he was very strategic in what he wanted to do. He was very clear that he wanted to see whether he can get to galvanize Mount Kenya region and possibly get a running mate from a different place. That way now you are able to balance, because I highly doubt, if you allow me actually to take it further, I highly doubt if William Ruto is a candidate, whether he would really prefer a running mate from Mount Kenya region.
Okay.
Because now that sets him back to what he has been running from. And you remember, only a few years ago, there was a conversation that even the other communities were asking, why does this look like a Kikuyu Kalenjin thing? Like
it's alternating.
Alternating all the time. I mean, kwani hakuna watu wengine? And of course, he would not really want it to look like that. I always see like his eyes have always been in the Western for a running mate. But he would really want to ensure that there is a strong bond between him and the Mount Kenya. So far, I feel like he has been able to achieve that. So far, I feel like he has been able to achieve that. I think if my estimates are anything to go by, 55 to 60% of the population seem okay with that.
I'm sure Bishop would want to debate really the support the deputy president has in Mount Kenya region. But just before we get into the issue of William Ruto, the deputy president, and his support in Mount Kenya, Bishop, because there's also another silent quarter that really thinks, why is the president going? Even if he retires as president, why can't he continue being the political leader in Mount Kenya region?
Okay, now, JJ, what I would wish to articulate in this juncture, I see Mount Kenya excited again.
Excited?
Excited.
Why?
And we have played politics of excitement for quite enough. And again, we are in it. Because you see Mount Kenya following a rebel. And the rebels who doesn't really have the blessings of the current leadership. I remember the days of Matiba and Robia. We were all excited that we would defeat Moi. And Moi gave us all the opportunity and all the time to campaign and to do what we wanted to do. But a Kikuyu proverb says, I don't know how we can interpret that in English. Yeah? And we are in it again. All the time when we went into elections in this kind of excitement, we lost.
Okay.
We lost. And every time after we lost, Moi used to tell Kikuyus and the Mount Kenya, mutakuwa kwa baridi miaka 5. And I'm foreseeing where we are going wrong. Because if you look to Uhuru, how he humbled himself before Moi, and Moi also wished that he was a successor to him. And he pointed, huyu kijana ndiye naona anafaa. You see the blessing, eh? I'm talking about the blessings.
Yes.
And even if you go through the Bible, you see Elisha subjected himself under Elisha and Elijah, and Solomon under David. There is that kind of subjecting yourself into a leadership, and then it comes slowly and smoothly to you.
Okay.
Then in Kibaki's time, we see Uhuru supporting Kibaki.
Yes.
He supported Kibaki, and he dropped for him, and he went and supported him. So you can see the blessings of Uhuru has come all the way from Moi to Kibaki to him. Now you see Kyojuri. Kyojuri have no idea of what will happen. He will just be another opposition leader somewhere, or rather, he cannot even become an opposition leader because he is just jumping before the drama. You know, we also have the people like Ruto.
Yes.
They are doing the same. They are putting the cart
Before the horse.
before the horse. And they want to claim, because of that excitement, it is our time. What will Uhuru do in 2022? What will he do? Is it not our time? So now, going forward, they have excited the communities, their own communities. Even they have been welcomed, as he says that other people will welcome outsiders into Kikuyu, to Nyumba ya Mumbi, as Kamau says.
Yeah.
He is also welcomed in Mount Kenya to look for votes. This excitement, Bwana JJ, is what I'm saying. These people, they are like weed without rain, and crowds without rain. And me, I don't go by how people talk. There is the word, the Bible word says, publican. Publican in Kikuyu, it says mokerede. Who goes by what Kerede says, they will not win. So now, seeing people like Kina Kimunya, people like Kina Kenneth, who are humble, people like Kina Orengo, who humbles themselves to Raila. This is the kind of people that inherit a leadership. But fighting for it, look into Uganda. That guy called
Kizza Besigye.
Yeah. How this is the kind of the hot time contending. The fifth time.
This will be almost the 10th time.
Have he ever come near
No.
leadership? No, because he has the blessing.
But one would argue maybe Museveni has rigged him out severally.
How are you rigged? So you can also rig if you are rigged. So now I want to say that there is the blessing that comes down from God to a king, from a king to a successor. And that is what is missing in Kenya. That's why I say, and I stand on my ground, that Ruto cannot make a president this time. But he can make probably
in future.
But this time, we are looking for someone who is looking, number one, not the leadership, number one, looking for the blessing. If you got the blessing of your father, it is more possible for you to inherit even the leadership of your father. But if you do not have the blessings, I can tell you, you are fighting a losing battle.
All right. Come on. We want to hear your view, because Jimmy Kagoni appears to suggest that 50-60% of the people of Mount Kenya would cast their lots with Deputy President William Ruto, and therefore not really much the need to keep talking about propping somebody else.
I would contradict this guy. You know, he's a very good friend of mine, and he's doing his calculations on the next election. They are foundations of life. And for you to be my friend, we must have worked with you, and we must be very open to each other on what is happening. I cannot dwell with who has 60% or who doesn't. I cannot talk about Uhuru, Ruto, or Raila in terms of what in what, who will, because that is now speculation.
Yes.
One thing I would say is that, what foundation have you put?
Exactly 60, but I feel he has been able to penetrate. You know, I feel like he has been able to penetrate. He has made quite a lot of inroads from Meru all the way to Laikipia.
Yes.
Were it not even for the things that are also happening in Parliament, you realize that most of the politicians in Parliament today actually wanted to be associated with him publicly.
Okay.
Yeah, publicly. So basically, just to say that it's good to acknowledge that William Ruto is trying to disrupt the way things have been done before in terms of penetrating Mount Kenya region.
Let me ask a quick one, because
Yes,
you talk
kindly.
about the deputy president penetrating the Mount Kenya region. Does this negate the need to have perhaps a kingpin, like you would say it, or a person really who would lead this region post-President Uhuru Kenyatta?
Well, may I put it this way?
Okay.
And because we are discussing politics here, there is what is ideal and there is what is happening on the ground.
All right.
At no single time are we discussing the ideal here. We're actually discussing as it is now. Why I give that disclaimer is so that we are able to remain very objective to actually discuss the situation as it is.
Okay.
You see, the Mount Kenya region, since Uhuru Kenyatta became the leader, there hasn't been a sign of anybody else. Where a few names here and there have been touted, but it wasn't anything clear like so and so is going to inherit. So William Ruto, in one way or the other, was able to identify that vacuum very fast, and he decided to come and step in. And he knew very well. And I want to go back to something. In the elections of 2017, most of the senior politicians in Mount Kenya region, many of them did not come back or did not even get what they were looking for.
The last general election?
The last general election.
Okay.
And they were all blaming William Ruto for interfering with the election.
Okay.
In fact, I was very shocked when I saw the vice chairman of Jubilee, David Murathe, confirming that indeed, when the elections were supposed to, when the second nominations, it was actually the second nominations.
The second round of nominations.
Second round of nominations were done. That's when they realized that there was a lot of interference. So you see some of the big names that you'd expect would have taken the ticket, then you realize they were not there. All the way starting from Meru, coming to, I mean, people like the former women left for Meru, Kajuju, was said to be very strong on the ground. She did not manage to make it. There were quite a number of leaders who really complained and said that William Ruto interfered with those rounds of nomination. And this is how I see it. If indeed it is true, and I'm just quoting what David Murathe said, if indeed it is true that he actually interfered to ensure that there were no big names, to ensure that there were no names which came back, then it is true that he really didn't want any name that can inherit the Mount Kenya politics. So somehow now that complicates the politics post 2022 because 6 million votes. 6 million votes. Well, it's a bit late. It's a bit late, I must say. It's a bit late, but that doesn't mean that they can't do something.
All right.
Yeah.
Bishop, you appeared to say you're not a publican, or you're not a public. You're not swayed by really what the public says or what the public things. But I put this one to you. Why then is the president, why do we see this? I don't know whether it is real or imagined. There's hate against the president. There's resentment against the president in his own backyard.
JJ, why I say I'm not a publican is because I'm a stern supporter of a very good government that is working, like the government of Jubilee. We have ignored the reasons that the government have the obligation to run the country, and looking for politics of becoming popular, like it is happening with the other people here in Mount Kenya and Kenya in general. We are trying to become popular on the ground. And you have heard many people say, mambo ni different kwa
ground.
A country cannot be run by what people are saying, and neither can anyone conduct themselves according to what people are saying. I hear many people say mimi niko mahali Wajiko wako. You see, that doesn't show leadership.
Okay.
Leadership is not where Wajiko is. No.
Where is it?
I hear Django say so sometimes back. Mimi sitaki kukua huku, na sitaki kukua huku, nataka kukua mahali
Wajiko yuko.
That tells you how weak a leader could be. That's a very weak leader, because you are not showing leadership. That's to be a publican.
Okay.
That's to, what we call a mob justice. If you follow a mob justice, you kill people. You need to be an organized military kind of leadership.
Okay.
A disciplined leadership is where you oppose the public. Anytime you follow the public, you do the wrong thing. Remember that man called Kayafa? That's Herod. I don't know which king. He is asked, should I give you Jesus or should I give you Barnabas? What did the public say? Give us Barnabas. What about Jesus? Crucify him. See, if you are a publican, you do the wrong thing all the time. This man took water and washed and did what the people are saying. You have the right to stand as a king and say, no, go home, I say. And you release your policemen and your troops to fight.
But surely, Bishop, this same public you're talking about are the same people you still go back to and ask them to vote you in. So,
they better not vote me. I'm telling you, it is not good for you to be wealthy without work.
Okay.
If you are wealthy, you are rich, and you have never been working, that is a very awkward wealth. We need to have a character that we can stand for. We don't need to have something that is trying to work in us, and you cannot have a ground on it. The reason why you see we are dragging behind in Kenya, it is because we are following the crowds, and the crowds can never be right at any given time. Where the rule of law is working, there is developments. People are stealing in Kenya and becoming rich, but if you ask them what they did to get that money, they can't tell you.
They can't explain.
They can't explain to you. So now my stand, Bwana JJ, is that I cannot stand for the public without morals.
All right.
For the public, a thief. For the public, without a foundation, a good foundation. And that is the reason why I would stand for the government of Kenya, led by Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, because at the end of the day, we need developments. Now see how men are behaving here. So, some politicians in Mount Kenya, how they are behaving. You could think that the elections are to be held tomorrow. How do I now become a publican and follow such? I can't follow such. I want to be a responsible leader. Yeah? How can I say that mimi niko mahali Wajiko wako?
Yes.
That's not leadership. It's not leadership.
There's a question I asked you, and I really need to hear your answer then. And you're talking about the public and not being a publican. But I'm just wondering, why then does the public feel resentment? I'm talking about this region. It may not be representative, it may not be the actual fact as it were, but you see some hate towards the president. What is bringing about this hate? What is bringing about this resentment against the president in his own region?
JJ, this is short-living. It's not. It has no roots, and it is what we call propaganda. In Kenya, we have lived enough on propaganda.
Okay. And
propaganda doesn't live long. It is a tool, or sometimes I call someone a demagogue. A demagogue is someone who uses weaknesses of people to incite them on something. We had problems here in Kikuyu land in business because there were people who were spoiling the economy of this land. But remember, a demagogue will take that weakness, will take that problem that is there with the Wanjiku, and then will measure on it and try to incite the people through it. And that is exactly what is happening in Kenya. There is 100% nothing. And the demagogues of this Kikuyu land and Mount Kenya knows that the economies had have been having challenges. And not only in Kenya, it is a global problem. Economical problem has not been only bad in Kenya. It's global.
Yes.
Now the demagogues will take that and begin to say it is about what they call them, what do they call them? They call them Hasra versus
Dynasty.
Dynasty. Yes. And they say that the dynasties are oppressing the poor. Looking into it properly, you see, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, when he was born, he found wealth. How comes that today he is told that he is
A dynasty.
a dynasty, and he have found all wealth in the accounts? Somebody want to incite the poor that the money that you do not have is actually with Uhuru. It is with the Uhuru family. And you capitalize on that. And you incite the people against Uhuru. You incite the people against the family. That one can't sink in me. If you look back the life of Uhuru and the life of that family, they have been in business all years of their lives. And they have their own estates. Now, if you look to karaoke, where have I been myself? I'm just coming up. If I compare myself with Uhuru, I can tell you I will be lost. Okay. That's the reason why the demagogue at all the time must be looking like Wanjiko's spokespeople or fighting for Wanjiko. But in actual fact, they are trying to politicize. They are trying to bring Wanjiko into a place where they will think that it is these people that has made us poor.
All right.
Even where people are breaking the law and trying to destroy the economy, they will still politicize and make the government to come out as if it is the one that is bringing problem in the economy of Kenya. That's the problem, but I don't know whether I'm answering you.
Hey, you have answered the question. Kamau, we have had talks of the deputy president raided the bedroom of the president, but it was actually the president really who introduced the deputy president, if you were to say so, to the said bedroom. So would you say then that the president shot himself in the foot? And are we saying then that we can actually claim ownership to some regions, and these people, if they have to come to these regions, have to come through me? You cannot speak to the people directly.
JJ, thank you so much for that. But from where I sit and what I know and what I do, I don't entertain those talks.
Okay.
So if you're talking about bedroom matters, talk about bedroom matters. But when it comes to politics, William Ruto does not know about anything about the people of Central Province or Mount Kenyan region as it is. He has visited, he has been told what to do, but he does not understand the basic entanglement of the people of the people of Mountain Kenya region, because we started from far. And I don't want to look at ourselves in terms of the next or the after the election. What my Honorable Kagoni said about 40-40, that number, I would say it can only get you.
You're trying to lower the percentage. You said 60.
60, yeah, 60 there. 65, 40 to 110. I would say it can only get you that far. If you don't have the foundation that set you to a good ground to build a good house, it can only get you that far. What William Ruto, and he mentioned, did on towards 2017 general election was bound to fail, because he came in, didn't find the real pillars that could have gotten him to where he wanted to go. So he messed up. And after realizing that he can't, I don't want to make him a topic. After realizing he can't make it, now he has gone to these simple guys, trying to tell them, I will igniting an emotion on them, but they can only get him that far. When there's a football match between Arsenal and Manchester United, we the spectators who watch the match, we can only analyze it from what we see, and the coach can only sit there and wait for the results. we cannot really make decisions on one. I can, with authority, I can say no one has his file as we stand. So he's not going further than he has been. So if he doesn't have someone who will carry his file in there and talk on his behalf, he's not heading nowhere. So on Mount Kenya region,
maybe before you go far, if he doesn't have somebody who carries his file, maybe I would want to hear a bit of an elaboration of what exactly you mean. By that you mean you need demigods? You need to be a kind of demigod?
Okay. I'll say like Bishop has said.
Yes.
Me, I'm not a Republican. I don't
You're
follow.
Not a Republican.
I'm not a Republican. I don't follow. I just sit down and see. When you look at who he works with young men, young ladies who cannot even go compare, like we are saying in our Mount Kenya setup, they're not really elders. Because even I move from here and I want anything in my village, I don't go looking to my age mate. I'll have to approach the elders. I tell them now I want to take to go
but
to
my.
my.
You say elders. He works
elders.
With, you're saying in the Mount Kenya region.
In Mount Kenya region, in Rift Valley, he doesn't have elders.
Would you say Senator Njero Ndriga is not an elder?
Is he an example of someone he works with? Do they take tea like every day?
Okay.
If I'll remind you an instance, there was and God forbid, or may he rest in peace, Mark II, when he passed on, and there was that ceremony when we were celebrating his life, when on that burial day, those guys who sat there, they knew each other so well, from the Kenyatta family, Moi family, Odinga family, Mark Toes and the others. They were deep in each other. They were friends, as in family, friends from business and all the goodwill. And when Senator Gideon Moi stood to speak, he spoke on a way he knew who Mark II was. But when the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya stood to speak, he contradicted everybody. And when the President stood, he said, nimesikia kikale hapa wakiongea sijui nini. What that stage said to say is that what Deputy President could have tried to do when he joined politics is to get integrated into the political circles and build a goodwill among these people.
But he has been more his blue-eyed boy at some point.
Exactly, but has he built enough goodwill to enable him to go to the next level?
Okay.
That could be my point.
Nice question. Jimmy Kagani, I want us a bit to get off the subject of the Deputy President and perhaps come back to the main conversation we were having and perhaps spend some time on some of these people we are talking about. And when we were beginning, I had you mention Peter Kenneth. And it's very important that we talk about him. And there are other people that have lined up here that we will talk about individually and whether they have capacity or not to succeed the president as, heir apparents in the region. But Peter Kenneth, what are his probabilities of, and I would want to hear everybody's opinion, what are his chances?
Peter Kenneth has a chance and no chance. That's how I would look at it.
Chance and no chance.
Chance and no chance.
What does that mean?
Because first and foremost, and I want to pick something that was said by my colleague, he must be very clear what strategy does he want to use when it comes to inheriting the region. Because it's a bit late, that's what I'm trying to say. If, for instance, the president decides and says that this is the man who is going to lead this region, the analogy that the bishop was giving of the king going down to anointing somebody, then it becomes a little bit easier for him.
Okay.
As it is, there is something I haven't seen from Peter Kenneth, and I would want to ask his advisors, maybe they need to look at that. And forgive me just to use this word, but Peter Kenneth needs to up his game. He appears to be a little bit politically lazy.
Politically lazy.
And that's the same thing I find with Mudavadi.
All right, birds of a feather.
People who have a very clear opportunity, but for one reason or the other, they are a bit politically lazy. What I mean is, you could be having the national appeal, but you can't just sit back and wait for somebody just to announce you. You need yourself, we need to see some level of aggression. In fact, if we were to blame some people, we would blame our friend PK and others who have not really stepped up. Actually, Mount Kenya should actually be asking them to come, and they sit them down and they tell them, we are in this dilemma because people who are supposed to naturally do this did not do it. So why I say chance and no chance, it depends on the strategy that he's going to employ. And I'm saying this because I would want even his advisors to assist him, because he has had a very clear opportunity. I'm not sure whether even now there is anybody else who is able to match his opportunity. As it is
He
now,
has an opportunity, but one he's not been able to exploit.
which he has not been able to exploit.
I
I want to believe that what he had, what they were doing, was it on Wednesday or Thursday when they were having the lunch? I want to believe
was
what
last
he
week,
was,
Wednesday,
yeah, what he was kickstarting then. I want to believe it's something that he's going to be very, very consistent. Let me tell you what I would advise Peter Kenneth. I don't know whether he watches this kind of things, but let me tell you what I would tell him.
It will get to him either way.
Let me tell you what I would tell him. If I was advising PK, I would tell him, as soon as possible, make sure that you sponsor 3 gamer meetings right away. Look for the chairman, get the gamer meetings. Somehow, let those gamer meetings declare you as the leader.
Endorsement
Of a kind.
Wouldn't that be seen as to try and rabble-rouse when you bring the president in the picture?
No, you don't have to bring the president. That's what basically that's what actually Uhuru Kenyatta did. He ensured, although he would not really want to admit this, but there was a gamer meeting that happened. I think it was Gamer 2 in Remuru.
Yes.
And that gamer meeting, the only resolution was that we are going to support Uhuru Kenyatta. Now, he wasn't there himself. Mwai Kibaki was not there himself. Actually, no known faces in terms of political circles were actually there. Number 2, you need to endear yourself to the people. If I were him, every day I'll be having delegations now coming to see me. I would ensure there are delegations after delegation after delegation after delegation. I mean, you are looking to be a leader of Mount Kenya region. You're not looking to become an MP. You're not looking to become a senator. You're looking to become the leader of Mount Kenya region. If I were him by now, I would be having delegation after delegation that are coming to see me. So that now we start establishing kind of a rapport. So that now I'm able to start getting some base of a kind. So that I'm able now to start knowing who is who for what. Who will do what, those kind of things. And I get to know what kind of activities we can be able to do together. So that presents the chance. But if he is waiting and thinking people are going to see him that way and all that, I mean, too bad for people.
All right, you're still on Taifa Dialogues, and of course, we're coming to you live from Hotel Lilies in Juja. And the conversations we're having are quite random. We're not making any judgment. We're just having our thoughts here, and of course, listening to every shade of opinion, because when we talk, that's the beginning of peace. Bishop.
Yes.
According to Jimmy Kagoni, Peter Kenneth is politically lazy. I don't know what is your view as regards, Peter Kenneth inheriting the mantle of leadership in Mount Kenya region from President Uhuru Kenyatta.
I really wonder why he behaves like this.
Who? Peter Kenneth?
Peter Kenneth.
Yes.
Because he shows up like an angel that used to come into the pool once a year. that pool is called
Siloam.
Siloam. He appears occasionally and looks like he can do something. Before we even think that he can do something, he disappears again. So I would wish to support Mr. Jimmy,
yes,
and say that Peter Kenneth can make a very good leader. But he plays an on-off kind of a game. He need to know that he must show to the Wajiko that he is a leader. And he might not be in any position in the government, but like most of our time I have been all over here without a position in the government. But I keep on helping. I keep on giving my views. I keep on checking on whatever the government is doing. If I do support, I support.
Yes.
If I do not support, like the times of Waitito, I did not support Waitito, and I said it. I'm not supporting.
Yes.
So now that is showing yourself a leader. It's a high time that Peter Kenneth come out and know that those are the views that could come out if in any time he would come to ask for the position of a president. And as he have said, Jimmy have said, he is not vying or imagining to vie for an MCA. He's imagining to become a president of the Republic of Kenya. And most of the time we have not seen such kind of leaders showing themselves into the public like they are sure leaders. In times of hunger like today, we have a lot of challenges in Kenya. We need to see him on TV articulating and trying to show a direction at least, but he have not for many days. So now, JJ, if I could support Kagoni, I would say that Peter Kenneth could make a very good leader, but occasionally appears and then vanishes in the thick air. And we don't know where he is in the darkness. And sometimes when there's something looking like there is an opportunity, he then shows up. That is not the kind of leadership we need.
Okay. I know I have about like 12 minutes according to my producer, so we'll try and rush it. Days up. But I would want to hear your view about Peter Kenneth. According to both, I think he has an opportunity, but he lazies in trying to get that opportunity.
Peter Kenneth, I don't know him personally.
You don't know him personally,
but he has the appeal. He appeals to people. One of the credit I can award to him is that he tried running for president.
2013.
So, 2013.
Okay.
So that to me is a mark. Where he has been, maybe he's been building his way up, and maybe crisscrossing and making his networks work. We don't know. But there are those leaders. We did actually, when you look at 2002, we brushed off Uhuru Kenyatta and we said, this guy, this young man from Gatondo, not knowing what he would do, and we have him as a president. What I would say is that he probably need to up his game, and he needs also our support. We as much as we want to say he has not come to us, we need to build our goodwill round about our leaders, because it is only when we come out and say so and so looks like that, just like we've agreed here, they can feel they got the warmth and the way to build up and to join other people. So what am I saying? In a nutshell, I'm saying let him come out, declare his interest, support the president, and maybe for future we can consider him. But also he has to be very much accessible. That if he has been accessible like that, we probably could be knowing him personally. But we don't have that personal touch that we can say, can I send you to so and so and bring me this and that.
And adding to what he's saying, we have seen how effective welcoming guests it can be. If we look to the DP, how he have opened the doors and to everybody, that one have positioned him in a very prospective place. And talking on Peter Kenneth, I think he's also mean. He's a mean man. He's a mean person. He is rich, he's wealthy, but he cannot learn, as the Bible says, the children of this world are wiser than the children of the kingdom.
Yes.
Because he need to know that when you call people and you eat together, DP calls delegates all over from all over. And he just give them tea and some sausages.
So you're suggesting Peter Kenneth does the same?
I think he need to learn from the politics of eating with your voters. And showing to them that you are accessible as he says. He is not accessible. We don't know where he lives. We don't know where he is even now. We need to know.
Very interesting point to make, but I don't know if we appear to be in consensus that he's actually one of the guys who stand the biggest chance to inherit the mantle from.
If a word on that, we as a person, I admire him of who he is and how he has come, and what he did when he was the Kagatanga MP and also the Assistant Minister for Planning. and he has got the network that is needed to go to the next level. But for the record, he has to stand behind President Uhuru Kenyatta.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I don't know how much time we have before we wind up, because I have a list of other candidates, and we could actually use maybe the next episode we have to individually start vetting this, people who want to succeed the president in the Mount Kenya region. But very quickly, maybe you could just have a quick comment of 1 minute, because the next episode we can use it to look at these guys even as we respond to emerging issues. But you have Senator Mutahi Kagwe, you have Martha Karua, you have Mwangi Kiunjuri, you have Kiraitu Murungi, and you have Governor Anne Waiguru. Peter Kenneth, out of a picture, who would you pick as the likely candidate for
in
that
fact,
position?
without any fear of contradiction, I'll actually give you the ranking.
Yes.
If Peter Kenneth was out of the way,
Yeah.
then the next person is Mutahi Kagwe.
Senator Mutahi Kagwe.
Senator Mutahi Kagwe.
Okay.
The person who have had a very clear chance would have actually been Kiraitu Murungi.
Okay.
But then I find like age is not really on his side.
Alright.
And he seems even to understand that. And for that reason, he doesn't seem even to give a lot of attention there. What I really know is that Kiraitu Murungi will continue to play a very critical role to whoever that comes.
Okay.
In fact, if I was Peter Kenneth, I would be so much worried of Mutahi Kagwe. Because if I'm out of the way, then that's where the focus goes to.
All right.
Then you mentioned people like Martha Karua. Martha Karua is good. And Martha Karua, at some point, she actually had a chance way ahead of Uhuru Kenyatta. First of all, because she appeared after the 2007-2008 election and the conflict that was there, she actually appeared like the person who really stood for the community,
Yes.
together with Uhuru Kenyatta. Now, what was a challenge to her is because she never got the opportunity to become the deputy prime minister. And I feel like that was a bit of a challenge to her. And she felt out of place. However, Martha Karua, if she's able to come back to the house and she doesn't seem to be so extreme, so to speak, I find like she still has a chance. But then at the moment, I would actually rank her number 3.
All right.
Because of all the dynamics that surround her. You had, so I have mentioned about
You've
Mutahi
talked about
Kagwe.
Senator Mutahi Kagwe, you've talked about Martha Karua, you've talked about Kiraitu
Kiraitu
Murungi,
Murungi.
you have Mwangi Kiunjuri and Governor Anne Waiguru.
Now, let me mention of Mwangi Kiunjuri. Mwangi Kiunjuri is good, but Mwangi Kiunjuri doesn't have the stature.
Okay. The stature of what?
The stature to appear like the leader.
All right.
But now, besides the stature, he has even complicated it beyond. Because you're also not in good books with the president.
All right.
Now, you want to inherit a base where the president is, so he will also make it very difficult for you. I thought when he was coming to the government, I thought that that is what he should have seen. Like now, I'm actually the guy to inherit.
Maybe I will stop there because I will stop it there because I want us to have this conversation in the next episode. Because I'm just thinking when you say about not being in terms with the president, William Ruto was not in terms with Daniel Moi when he inherited the kingship of Kalenjin community. But then you would argue probably the dynamics of politics in Kalenjin and Mount Kenya are not the same. But very quickly, Bishop, 1 minute. Mutahi Kagwe, Martha Karua, Mwangi Kiunjuri, Kiraitu Murungi, Anne Waiguru. Who would you pick as your favorite? Peter Kenneth aside.
For presidency?
Yes, for presidency. Or the Mount Kenya
I'm trying
region
to think
leadership.
that Kiraitu is becoming very old. I don't know whether he's getting older. So I would rule out for Kiraitu.
Okay.
And maybe I can also see that Kagwe is a very new blood, very energetic, and look like very ready to serve. So for me, I can go for Mutahi. I can also see that we have given other people opportunities to serve, but they drop on the way. Like Karua, even mentioning Karua, I think we have given Karua opportunity before.
Yes.
But Karua will leave you in the stage. You are thinking that you are together.
You're making reference to when she was justice minister.
Yes. She left Kibaki, and you can now look from there. She have not yet again recovered. She have not been able to recover again.
Yes.
Reason because sometimes it's like Kiunjuri. Even yourself mentioning Kiunjuri here. Kijuri will make a very good party, and they will collect funds through MCAs who want to buy, through MPs who want to buy, but not beyond that.
Okay.
Kijuri cannot go beyond collecting funds from Wanjiko. And he had the opportunity to serve in the Ministry of Agriculture, but he did not show himself a man. He did not show himself well and able to articulate the issues that concern the Ministry of Agriculture. So to me, I would say that the brand that we do not know as per today is Kagwe. And Kagwe, no, he was a senator something.
Yeah, Senator for Nyeri.
Yes, he was a senator. And also have shown that he's a mature. So now, for me, I would rule that for Meru, we still need to think because we have the former governor, who is also
the Minister for Agriculture.
He's also loyal with the president, and well managing his own affairs. So now Kiraitu is a good man, but age is also striking. Age is striking. We also need to look at the age factor.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. With the age factor, one will argue if you were to go with age, then even Raila Odinga becomes an automatic disqualification. But anyway, very quickly, on those guys I've mentioned, I've talked about Mutahi Kagwe, Senator, the Minister for Health right now, Martha Karua, the former Justice Minister and MP for Gishogo, Mwangi Kiunjuri, the former Agriculture Minister, Kiraito Morongi, the current governor for Meru, and the current governor for Kirinyaga, Governor Anwar Iguru.
Have you mentioned Mwangi Kiunjuri?
Yes, I have.
On my list, I'm going to rub him out.
Okay.
Because I cannot discuss. I find him very mean. And
it's your right. All right.
I find him very mean.
Okay.
And he doesn't have the stature of a leader. How they got him to where he is, I don't agree with one of it. But I would say they mentioned from Anwar Iguru, Mutahi Kagwe, the CS. There is a gentleman called Peter Munya, Kiraito Murungi, and others. I would suggest, because we are all from the Mount Kenya region.
Yes.
First, the first law that is going to come should be given to the Meru people.
Okay.
They should look at Peter Munya and Kiraito Murungi because they supported the other region for quite some time.
Okay.
So we elevate them to a position where...
You're simply saying now the region should look east.
If we go the BBI and we change the constitution, they have deputy prime minister and all these manner of things, we should have a Meru.
The Mount Kenya region should look east.
Because Meru people, even economically, they've come up so well. Okay. They've been a good supporter of President Kenyatta, President Kibaki, and President Kenyatta also. Not disregarding
Kenyatta
President, President Kenyatta one, President Kibaki, and President Kenyatta. Not disregarding President Moi, because we are talking of who we've had. I would suggest, just like it happens in Rome, when we want to have a pope, these guys, the leaders we have from Kagwe, Waigoro, Munya, Peter Kenneth, and others, not cutting the list, they get in and they give us who is going to be a kingpin. Not now, because now we have Uhuru Kenyatta. Who is going to be behind him in case there is any vacuum. But for now, there's no vacuum.
There's no vacuum.
They should actually hold hands together, join in to support Uhuru Kenyatta as we move forward.
Fantastic. You make a very good point.
Good.
Let's stay for dialogues. This is where we put a cap today. But of course, we will be very, very consistent in coming to you every single time to ensure that we are able to understand these issues in a deeper perspective. Like I say, every shade of opinion is very much welcome. So on our social media pages, you can always go there and leave your comment. And most importantly, again, every shade of opinion, again, is also welcome on this panel. Thanks very much to Hotel Lilies in Juja. We're coming live to you. My name is John Jacob Curia. Have yourself a good evening.